We're joined now by Maajid Nawaz from the Quilliam Foundation. It's a counter-extremism think tank. Is there any reason we can divine as to why France is bearing the brunt of these attacks
Yes,
in Europe?
There is. 2 years ago, ISIS spokesperson Adnani, let's be clear, this hasn't been claimed yet by ISIS, but all the signs are there that this is a jihadist attack, clearly. And 2 years ago, ISIS spokesperson Adnani instructed their followers to engage in precisely this type of attack, using cars to mow people down on the streets. In that instruction, he specified and highlighted France in particular for such an attack. So we have to think, why do they have a particular grudge against France? Well, one of it is pragmatism. There happen to be a lot of recruits that have come from France, and because France, unlike Britain, is on continental Europe, it's easier to attack in France than it is, say, in Britain, though we are clearly overdue an attack here as well. The other is they bear a grudge against France for things such as France's stance on the Charlie Hebdo cartoons and free speech, which is a laudable stance, by the way, and the ban on face veils. And jihadists have long taken such a ban personally and declared that they wish to attack France in particular as a symbol of Western enlightenment and freedoms.
Are we right to be puzzled, but also grateful, of course, that we haven't had so far a similar attack in this country in recent years?
Yes, and I think part of the reason is the fact there's the English Channel in the middle, and we have always controlled our own borders, and it makes it harder to get here, but also to acquire guns for those who are here already. Though I must say, Andrew, I think that we are long overdue an attack, and I just want the nation to be prepared for the tragic day that something like that happens here soon. I've been long saying it's overdue, and I'm frankly surprised it hasn't happened yet.
I mean, we take comfort. It is certainly harder to get automatic weapons in this country than it is in France. In France, it may be not as easy as America, but there are a lot of automatic weapons in France, and you can, if you want them, this guy was a criminal, you can get a hold of them. But actually, this was not a terrorist attack. I mean, it did involve a weapon, but it didn't seem to be the most important thing. I mean, anybody can rent a truck one day and find a way of driving it into a huge crowd the next day.
And Hamas has been doing this in Israel for years. They long ago realized that it was difficult to penetrate Israeli security barriers and checkpoints. So what they decided is to change tactic and to find everyday weapons like cars, to turn them into weapons and to mow people down at bus stops, which is what Hamas has been doing in Israel. Jihadists, global jihadists such as Al-Qaeda, in 2010 instructed their followers to adopt such a strategy. And as I said, 2 years ago, ISIS adopted a similar strategy. So what I wouldn't be surprised to see in the United Kingdom is a city not in the capital, a soft target, such as a celebration on the streets on a festival or a national holiday, and a car or other such similar daily tools being used.
Something unexceptional.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can have a similar effect on the psyche of the nation.
A lot of people on social media were saying to me this morning, oh, but our intelligence services are so wonderful, and that's why we've not been attacked. Now, it is true our intelligence services have thwarted a number of attacks in recent years. It's also true that French intelligence thwarted a number of attacks as recently as during the European football competition. But when I speak to the intelligence services, they are the first people to say, we can't stop everything. So we should, I think it is kind of it's wrong and unfair to expect our intelligence services to get everything, isn't it?
Of course, and they're not going to stop everything. What I'd encourage our authorities to do is to start preparing now for the response when an attack happens. Now, that response mustn't only be a legal and a CT response, but also
counter-terrorism.
Counter-terrorism. What we need as well in place is a response within communities. Now, it's clear that, of course, we mustn't let terrorists divide us, but we also, and something we've been weak at, is we also have to acknowledge that, yes, terrorists mustn't divide our communities, but in the long term, we need a strategy to engage in this generational struggle. And that's going to be an uncomfortable conversation. Muslims and non-Muslims need to stand together to start challenging some of the ideology that underpins this type of terrorism. It won't be easy at first. It wasn't easy when people started challenging racism and anti-Semitism and homophobia, but eventually those battles were won. And this is a similar generational struggle.
The new Prime Minister and what is in effect a new government, given all the changes, given what's happened in France, given the enduring and ongoing danger still in this country, They're going to have to give more thought to this, are they not? They're going to have to do more than has been done so far and perhaps think of new ways.
Absolutely, and Theresa May's had a sterling record on the counter-terrorism side of things at the Home Office. What she hasn't previously had to deal with is the community cohesion side of things, because she's never had that brief in the Communities and Local Government Department, whereas Prime Minister Cameron, during his tenure, adopted a full-spectrum approach. And I think Theresa's views on this have evolved over the years from being hard-end counter-terrorism to accepting the need for a full-spectrum, whole-of-society approach. But it remains to be seen as to whether, how committed she remains to that, and I certainly hope she is.
Well, I'm sure it's suddenly moved up her agenda. Thank you very much.
You.